I'm Curran Walters. I star on DC Comics Titans. I play Red Hood, and you are listening to Spoiler Country.
In a world of podcasts, one rises in the night to destroy them all. The elder god in an ocean of noise, the Cthulhu of the airwaves. This is Spoiler Country.
Hello, listeners of Spoiler Country. Today on the show, we have the fantastic actor, Mr. Curran Walters. How's it going, sir?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
It's a huge pleasure to talk with you. As I was saying off air, my wife's a big fan of yours. Me and my wife together watched Titans, and you're fantastic, and the show is awesome.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. Thank you, guys.
I think it's a cool thing when a show is good enough and universal enough that, husband and wife, you can sit down and just be like, we want to both watch this show. Because it's not true of all the shows. But Titans is one of them that has universal appeal.
Yeah, it's great. It's one of those few superhero shows too. You can almost any age and stuff can watch if you allow that. But it's pretty awesome. The storyline this season is by far my favorite too. So it's a great season. I kind
of think that the way the show is set up with the different characters, obviously you have Nightwing, you have Raven, Beast Boy, all of them, is that there's someone in that show for every viewer to identify with on some level. I mean, absolutely. Jason Todd, he's got his issues. He's kind of villainous this season, but if you watch the first two seasons, he has this long history of difficulties that a lot of people probably can identify with that kind of problem upbringing.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool. That's something that I always pay attention to, with the fans saying whatnot, and that's a beautiful thing. Like even just my character alone, like I have fans reaching out, like, "Oh, you saved my life! Like your character is so like just hits home for me, So it's pretty awesome. Like you hit it spot on how every single superhero character in the show kind of relates to everybody in a certain way. So it's a beautiful thing. It's awesome.
And you're killing it on this show.
Thank you.
Jason Todd is a badass.
Since season 1?
Actually, no. I started season 3, and I went backward to season 1. I watched season 1, then I watched season 2, and then I just caught up the new episode. But I came a little late. I think we started the first few episodes of season 1, and then I stopped for a while and finally came back to it. But it is bad, and knowing what happened with your character season 3 makes going back season 1 seem so tragic, so incredibly tragic.
Right? Yeah, you kind of watched it in reverse.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I did like a Star Wars thing. I saw the 4, 5, and 6, and I went back and saw the prequel. I guess
that's so great.
And like I said, you're just doing such a good job with it. And I was surprised when I looked up, because I always kind of researched my guest, and I saw that from your first television role, which was I guess Growing Up and Down, to Titans, it's only been like 4 years. In 4 years, you went from new to a major character role. That's huge growth.
Yeah, it's just persistence in this industry. I think if you're really in it for the right reason and you love what you do, you fail, you get back up, you keep going, and eventually the right role will land. And that's the opportunity I was given. So,
and if I heard the story correctly, you got the role of Jason Todd after just one audition. Is that true?
Yeah, man. It's funny. Everyone asks this question, so I'll tell you the story too. Basically, I went out for the audition. I had no idea. I knew that it was Titans. I had no idea what I was playing, what I was doing. And God, this was probably 4 or 5 years ago already. That's insane. But, I went out and I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to be like a guest star on the show, a couple episodes here and there. I have no idea who I'm playing, what I'm doing. And it turns out after booking it, 2 weeks later, I had like a costume fitting, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're playing Jason Todd, Robin," and I'm like, "Great, awesome!" That's that. It was kind of a shock, and it was pretty cool. And here we are, years later, still doing it. So
now, when you auditioned, you didn't know which role you were auditioning for?
No idea.
Like what was the audition even like then? Did you?
I had a feeling it was an important character, but I didn't know. I don't remember which scene it was in season 1, but it was one of the scenes we did. It might have been, I think my audition scene was where I was season 1, some scene in like a parking garage with Dick. I think that's what it was. But yeah, man, it was interesting. And then I was supposed to get a call back, and they just booked me right away. So
that is awesome.
It was a blessing. They believed in me so much.
That's a nice confidence boost right there, huh? First audition, like, yeah, you're the guy. We're done. We're done. The search is over.
Yeah.
So prior to receiving Jason Todd, did you know who the character was? Like, were you a comic book fan at all? Did you know anything about the Robin Jason Todd character at that point?
I'm going to be honest. I knew who the Robins were, obviously. I didn't know there were so many. Of course, I knew of like the Tim Drake and stuff, but not really. As soon as I booked the character and I found out that I was playing Jason Todd, I went out and I bought every comic book I can regarding Jason Todd. And I kind of just geeked out on that for years to come now. And here I am. I'm a big geek on all this stuff now. So it's been awesome.
Everyone who's a fan of Jason, or everyone who knows Jason Todd, everyone knows the Death in the Family series where he gets killed by a crowbar from the Joker. When you got the role, was that already known that this was going to happen to your character? Or was this something that just kind of happened over time?
No, it was kind of something that happened over time. I think I found out about this end of season 2, that we were going to be doing this Death in the Family arc. And, you know, I became a fan of the character myself as we were filming season 1 and season 2. I'm like, I really hope we get to do this Death in the Family arc, you know? So the minute I found out we were doing that, I was thrilled, and I'm blessed that we were able to do that.
And like I said, it's such a great moment in comic books. I mean, it's such a seminal moment, and anyone growing up in the 80s or 90s knows that storyline. And one thing that's really cool is, unlike a lot of superhero characters in DC, the big or Marvel, Jason Todd has never been played on screen until you did it.
Yeah.
You're the first Jason Todd on screen. So did that increase the pressure because, you know, it's the first time? Did it decrease because there's no one else to measure up next to?
A little bit of both. Obviously, I was the first live action, so I didn't really have anything to base it off. You know, I was kind of setting the standard of what it should be and whatnot. So, but of course, I mean, anytime that I care so much about a character or a role that I'm playing, I want to do it for the fans. I want to give it my best. I'm going to give it my all. So I would be lying if I said I didn't feel that sense of pressure, for sure. I definitely felt, even while filming the 3rd season, bringing Red Hood to life. I mean, that's where the pressure, I really felt the pressure, you know? So, but I'm just happy the fans enjoyed, you know, all 3 seasons so far.
I mean, the character of Jason Todd, once again, is a very badass character. Unlike a lot of the other characters, kind of have to be a little more reserved. Jason Todd gets to do and say almost like anything. It seems like, you know,
yeah, right.
There's so much what you can do with that character. You can be this badass, you know, kind of a tough character, but also at the same time, you're a hero character. When you were first given the role of Jason Todd, what did the directors tell you about how to perform that role? Were there insights to be like, you know, we want this character to be more like this? They had to have, you know, because like I said, he's a tough character. I mean, on the one hand, he's this cool, likable kid and character, but at the same time, he's a bit of an ass too, you know?
Yeah, it was finding that good balance, you know? We have such an amazing team in the writer's room. So, you know, it was finding that balance, but ultimately they kind of let me have freedom to do what I want to do with the character. And, you know, they put their trust in me and whatnot. So I'm very thankful for that.
And it's such, and you also, I mean, the character is such a physical role. I mean,
yes.
all that martial arts. I mean, I assume that, I mean, a lot of that looks like it's you. I mean, or is it you doing? I mean, how much is that actually you doing it?
Yeah, I mean, of course, we have such an amazing stunt team, and shout out to my stunt double, Thomas. This season was a little bit more heavy on the stunts with Red Hood. But yeah, I do as much as I can that I'm comfortable with doing, because obviously I don't want to get hurt while filming. Yeah. But, you know, a lot of it is my stunt double. We do a good job at hiding it, though. So, yeah.
You know, and I think that's really cool that you actually shout out to your stunt double. You know, stunt doubles don't get anywhere near enough credit as they probably deserve. And I really like that you just were like, you know what? I owe it to this guy, too, you know?
I do. I genuinely do. They're such great people. They're amazing.
It's probably so easy to be like, no, that's always me. That's me.
Oh, I can take all the credit. So that's not right.
So the parts the physical aspects of it that you're doing yourself, how much training and choreography does it take to have done those parts? We
did a lot, obviously, with COVID and whatnot and all the protocols. You know, it was different with who we could have in the training room and when we could train and all that. So we didn't get to train as a team, as a Titans team, as much this year. But the cool thing about this season that we were able to, since Red Hood uses guns, we were able to bring in military guys and you know, go over just how to move and how to hold the guns correctly and how to just move around corners. It was such a cool new experience to do.
Now, did you have anything in your prior history? I know prior to acting, you are a model. Was there anything prior in that history, either athletics or anything like that, that made you confident that you could pull off these action scenes?
I always played sports growing up, like soccer, football here and there. I work out here and there. So I knew I could do it. And I knew, like, you know, like we were talking about earlier, persistence is key. So if I keep working towards it and, you know, keep working hard, I believe you can do anything you set your mind to. So.
And how fun is it to fight Nightwing?
Oh my God. It was so different, man. Cause it was like season 1 and 2 were on the same team. And now here we are fighting each other. So it was Breton and I get along so well together. So it was funny to have that dynamic, that new dynamic of fighting.
Now, one cool thing about the show, and like I said, I think the cool thing is how quickly in it you can geek out watching that program. And I really like there's a scene, I can't remember which season, which episode, probably the first season, where the character of Dick Grayson points out that putting on the suit affects you psychologically, okay? When you are playing Jason Todd as Robin, Jason Todd as Red Hood, does getting into costume affect psychologically how you play the character? Like, do you immediately feel in the moment when that happens? Does it change between Red Hood and when you're playing Jason Todd, how that feels?
Absolutely. You know, immediately when I step into the Jason Todd Robin costume, I'm like 12 again, you know, I'm like, woo, like it's so fun. But then, you know, with the new character Red Hood, immediately when I put on that Red Hood outfit, it's a whole different, it's totally different vibe. And I just feel like Red Hood, you know, I feel like I'm just here to do business. I'm here to, you know, go out, you know, this season, obviously go after the Titans and whatnot. So yeah, it's a totally different dynamic.
Is it you in the Red Hood costume, even though your face is all covered? That's still you doing it?
Yeah, that's really me doing it. Except the only time that I'm not in it, or I'm still right there, is when we're doing stunt scenes, and that's my stunt double. So,
and that the voice of the Red Hood, once again, it sounds so significantly different. Are they doing something with the audio? Is that you pulling it off?
Correct. So that was one of the biggest challenges I had this season, is figuring out the voice that I wanted to do with the Red Hood, because like we talked about earlier, I had nothing to compare it to. So I kind of had to go with my gut feeling. And obviously the only really version that I was able to see was under the Red Hood movie. So immediately I had to shift my voice. I had to make it a little darker, just more straightforward, you know, like the killer he is. So, but the cool thing about it that I never got to do is actually all the scenes that I do in my mask, we do in ADR. So I'm able to go thereafter and, you know, check out the scene, hear like the after effects they put on the voice and whatnot. So yeah, it was a process finding the voice, and I think it came out amazing.
And I think it's really cool. And one thing I liked as well, I mean, I think in many ways, you specifically you've had the most growth of a character than any other character in the 3 seasons, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, every character has their arc, but I mean, like season 2, I think it was season 2, where Jason Todd falls off the building, yep. And there's a scene where you're on the cliff, where the character is kind of contemplating, I guess, suicide at that moment.
Yeah,
that's such a strong moment, and such an emotionally strong moment. Is, you know, what is it like to like dig your teeth into scenes like that? I mean, those are tough. I mean, it looks tough.
All those scenes take so much work, so much pacing around my apartment, figuring out what to do in 2 weeks. You know, it's like, and then when you get there, you really feel in the moment. You really feel the scene. Yeah, I guess that's what comes with acting. You know, just going with your gut, trusting the amazing creative team around you, and you know, just giving it your best. And that's all you can do.
And I think it's really amazing. I mean, even if it, as you said, it didn't seem planned that eventually 13 was going to be, or they didn't tell you that Red Hood was going to be season 3. But when you watch the other 2 seasons, so many breadcrumbs are there that when you go back and you watch them, like I went back and I saw them in reverse. You're like, I see that. I see what you did there. I see what you did.
Yeah.
It's amazing just how well it all connects and how you played it. Even if apparently if you didn't know, that's just amazing, because I can see in your performance, it just feels like you could see you heading in that direction. It's ingenious. I
prepared for it. You know, I didn't know, but I prepared, you know, it's a possibility it could happen. And, you know, where we saw me leave at the end of season 2, I had a good feeling. And then once we found out that it was going to happen, it's pretty cool. And your character has such good chemistry with the character, with the character of Rose Slade. Yep.
Is there any hope this character could be visiting again sometime season 3, or is that too much spoiler? We won't give it too many spoilers then.
Right? Not too many.
But like I said, that was great. And I think another thing is when you're playing Jason Todd now as Red Hood, do you view the character as a villain, or are you looking at the character like just broken and he's really just a wayward hero? And obviously, everyone who's watched the newest episodes too, we know what's going on with the Scarecrow in the background as well. When you're playing the character and you're thinking about the character, how much of what the character's actions do you think are his and his willingly? How much are you thinking that he is just a pawn of a bigger game?
Yeah, you put that in a good way. And I think that's something we discover more throughout the season. But, he's struggling with both sides. He's obviously now with what he's done to Hank, it's like, how could you not view this guy as a villain? It's very hard not to. And he knows that. And then he also has this other side of like dealing with the fact that he did this to one of his own family members, like he tore the Titans apart. So it's a very fine line that he struggles with. He tries to get away from that old life of his and mask it with the Red Hood. But then when there's moments where you see him not in Red Hood and he's struggling with what he did. He wants to go back to the family. So, it's a very interesting dynamic we get to explore throughout the season.
And yeah, I was just saying about what he did to Hank. I mean, that's a hard thing to come back from. I mean, that's a line like right there.
Yeah.
I mean, you think that even have you noticed the fan base being like, God damn, Jason Todd, this is unforgivable now? Or
oh my God, my Twitter and my Instagram every day. It's great.
You're taking shit online?
Oh, absolutely. It's all right.
Hopefully they're separating the two, and separating you and Jason Todd.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you notice because, like I said, fans, especially comic books and any nerd fan base, Star Trek, Star Wars, comic books, anything like that, the fans get very passionate. And like, are you finding that fans are able to separate you from the role, or because I know some seems like can confuse the two and be like, you bastards, like, well, it's not him. It's the character on the show. It's the writers, actually.
Yeah, you have both. You have people who actually hate you for what you did, and you have people like, all right, that was just a character, but we love you now. So it's a fine line. It all depends on the person, but I take everything with a grain of salt, and I really only pay attention to the positive things I see online, and that's it.
Has the dynamics on the set changed now that you're the bad guy on the show and not part of the team? I mean, do you feel, like the other actors kind of like you're now slightly in a different situation than the other? You're not quite with them anymore as like performing together, rehearsing together?
Yeah, that definitely, a little bit, not too much, but overall I miss working with everyone. I miss having that interaction, even with Gar and Raven and whatnot. So yeah, it all changes a little bit, but at the end of the day, we're still an awesome cast and family. So
if anyone's listening, Raven needs to come back on the show if she hasn't already. And so just pointing that out.
But not even halfway through the season.
That's true. I must say I'm extremely impatient. There's so many good characters. Like, come on, I want to get this happening. I want to see this. It's like you get so antsy about these things.
Absolutely.
And in your opinion as well, is Red Hood? Would you say that Red Hood is the primary villain of the season? Is the arc going to be season long, or is it going to be segmented throughout the show?
Yeah, I would say he is the primary villain. As the season goes on, I think the villain to Red Hood is Jonathan Crane. And that's a dynamic we get to explore more. But yeah, ultimately, I would say he's basically the villain, the biggest villain this season.
And I think another one of your best scenes, and like I said, so many of your scenes they're just they're just so good.
Thank you so much. That means a lot because I'm my own worst critic. So.
Well, I mean, they're just so dynamic, and there's a subtlety to your performance as well that you would assume from watching your performance that you've been doing it for a long time, not 6-7 years. It seems like you've been doing it, your life. There's a scene in season 3 that's I think is one of the recent episodes. I'm going to get the guy's name wrong. I'm going to apologize on camera. Am I pronouncing it Glenn? Lane.
Oh, Ian Glenn.
Ian. Oh, that's an I. I thought there's like a line. I thought it was L. It's an I. Okay. Ian, sorry. Ian Glenn.
Ian Glenn.
Yeah. So there's a scene in where Bruce takes Jason to where his parents gets killed.
Yes.
And he has that talk about why he doesn't want him to be Jason Todd. And Jason is clearly hearing totally different interpretation of what Bruce Wayne means. And as performing it as Jason, you're both hearing him, but on the other hand, you're also doing it in a very, you're also getting angry and showing, picking on the wrong beats of the conversation. So how did you go about that scene? Was it a tough scene to perform? How long did it take to practice with Ian?
Yeah, honestly, that was probably one of the easier scenes,
Really?
Shout out to Brian Hill, our amazing writer for episode 5, by the way. But yeah, Ian is just so amazing to work with. We only really got time to rehearse over our Zoom table calls, our table reads. So we didn't have much time, and we kind of just, we figured it out on the day, and the chemistry was there. So it was pretty great. And that scene turned out to be amazing.
That's one of those classic moments where, like, when it's time to do like awards, it's like, this is my clip, because like you do so many layers to how that scene went with you. Yeah. And I don't know if you get enough, hopefully you're getting enough praise for that moment, because like I said, there's moments you can see the anger and the sadness and the feeling of not only neglect, but being a lifetime of being put. You can see all these things, and you can almost see the character. You just took that one moment of scene, and ignored everything else from the entire series. You can almost tell everything you wanted to know about Jason Todd in that one clip.
It's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
It's basically Todd's life, so I think the writing in that whole episode was terrific. So, but
but the performance made that possible. Like I said, you can see the layers on your face.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it means they believed in me, so that's always a plus.
So another one that you're having a lot of scenes now with is Vincent Kartheiser. Am I getting anywhere near the ballpark?
I know how to pronounce his last name.
All right, so I'm not the only one who can't do that one. All right, so we'll call him just Vincent and Scarecrow. Vincent Scarecrow. There's another one that you have a lot of scenes with, and he's also, once again, there's also a great dynamic between you and Vincent. A lot of chemistry there. Is that just natural chemistry that you guys had immediately? Did you have to work to get that?
Both villains. So, it was just taking our years of experience of being actors and working it out on the day. I think a lot of the scenes, with every character was just figuring out what the scene felt like on the day. You can't really prepare for a scene until you really run it with the other actor. So yeah, as far as that goes, just figuring it out on the day. Now,
there's another good scene in the show, beginning of 3rd season, okay? Where Nightwing's character is talking to Scarecrow in the prison, and he's talking about what kind of person would be this Red Hood. And he said something along the lines of about a father figure or an alternative father figure. And Scarecrow was kind of talking back with him. It's like, a surrogate father figure, right? When you're performing Jason Todd, are you, in your mind, do you see the character as viewing Scarecrow as a surrogate father figure, or someone that he's just utilizing for a similar cause? Because of, obviously, connection to the drugs, is he simply the dealer with power over him?
I think the last one. I think just honestly because of the drug and the fear. Yes, nothing more really. And just Jason Todd at that moment, just will almost do anything to get rid of his past and the trauma that he went through with the first 2 seasons.
Like I said, they've done a great job. I think this is definitely the strongest season of Titans.
It's great. It's one of my favorites for sure.
So just 2 last questions. I know you do have to go. So. Are you heading towards the convention circuit? And with COVID going on, is that something that is going to interfere with it? Or do you still think you are going to maintain your convention?
That's something we're all figuring out still. It's really a personal choice. It's, how comfortable I feel with COVID and whatnot. I would love to go. I would love to go if the protocols are right and, it's safe for me to not go and I'm not bringing it home to my family. But yeah, as far as the conventions go, I hope I'm doing this for 10 plus more years. I think those things are so awesome to interact with fans and just be there around creatives.
I would say as a fan, we greatly appreciate it.
Awesome. Hey, that's what I do it for. You guys are amazing.
So I know you can't give away any spoilers, or obviously HBO will kill you and me probably for making you do so, but can you sort of kind of hint at what listeners can look forward to in the upcoming episodes of Titans on HBO?
More about my character in specific. I'd say more trauma, just more seeing the struggle of Jason. You know, the fans always get mad, like, "Oh, you broke my heart with Jason." I'm like, you guys haven't seen anything yet, so yeah, I think just more of just that struggle, which is such a cool dynamic for a superhero show.
And like I said, and it's one of those things where it's kind of funny that you have us as fans very much torn, and I'll blame you and the writers, you know. So and on the one hand, you make a kick-ass villain, and Jason Todd is a great villain. On the other hand, we kind of like when he was with the Titans as well. So we're like, we kind of want him to be redeemed, but at the same time, he's a villain. We kind of don't because he makes a good villain. You have us kind of torn him two different directions with this character.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Just I don't really think anything of it, man. Just, you know, I the minute I found out I was playing a villain, I was just like, all right, I'm immediately a villain. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Just, you know, right when I put on that costume, I was like, I just felt it through my body. I was like, this is it. I got to embody this character. So I don't think too much of it. I figure it out. I do my research as an actor and do my thing.
I'm going to have one last question.
No, you're good. Ask away.
Oh, appreciate that. Is it just more fun to be the villain? I mean, you got to be the hero and the villain. Is the villain more fun?
I can't pick a side, to be honest with you. Jason Todd Robin will always have my heart. I mean, playing that character was just so fun. But yeah, being a villain is awesome. It's a totally different challenge and totally different character. So yeah, they're both so fun.
And like I said, I think what Titans and HBO Max is, I hope they also interact with some of the other shows that are connected to HBO Max, like CW stuff and some Doom Patrol. So if you just throwing that out there, anyone's listening. But either way, I don't have any power, but just throwing that out there.
You never know.
You never know. It could be one person listening and be like, you know what? That's a good idea. That's a good
idea. Exactly.
But once again, I just want to thank you so much for talking with me. So Titans airs, HBO Max is doing once a week. They don't air them all at once like some streaming shows do. Like I think Amazon does all at once. It's weekly. So for our listeners, where can they find Titans on HBO Max? And is it Monday? Trying to remember the exact first day. Thursday. But so it's Thursday, HBO Max. Guys, listen to it. Jason Todd is awesome. Hopefully there's more of him. And also season 4 with Jason Todd. Just throwing that out there.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to meeting you, hopefully. So thank you.
Yes, totally. Have your Miss, I think it's Quarto, have her, if you go, please let me know. Have her send an email my way and I'll be like, definitely going to make a time for that ticket.
Absolutely. And
all right, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Walters.
You guys are great, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
And we're back.
That's right. We are back. Back in the saddle again. Well, I hope you guys really, really enjoyed that as much as we did making it for you. And if you like what you heard and you want to hear more, you got to go check out spoilerverse.com, because at spoilerverse.com we have a plethora amazing directors and artists of all walks of life, and editors and writers, and oh my god, are you a lover of comic books like we are? Then there's so many amazing people from the comic book world over at spoilerverse.com, and I highly implore you to go there and check it out.
Yeah, and while you're there, you can check out all the other podcasts on our network, like Bridget and Geekdoms and Funny Book Forensics and Haphazard Adventures and Nerds from the Crypt and so many more.
Misery
we put out
Point
episodes
Radio.
all the time. Go check all of them out, and check out all of the reviews and previews and articles we have going up every single day for you, every day on spoilerverse.com for you to check out, to read, and to love, and to like, and to comment. We have a store link. You want to help support the site? You can do it two ways. One, go to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/spoilercountry, or go to our store link in the middle of the site there and get a t-shirt, a face mask, a hoodie, something, look fly as hell, and help support the site when you do that, because we get $1 or $2. And, maybe you want to talk to us. If you do, you can do it obviously on all the socials, but if you go to scpod.us/discord, you can join our public Discord server and come chat with us all day long.
I couldn't say it better myself, dude.
There you go.
You just mouthed out a ton of information at once, and really, I hope you guys enjoy what you're hearing, because we're working our butts off to bring it to you.
We are.
I guess there's only one left thing. Yeah, I'm going to go with it. There's only one thing left to do.
What's that?
In an oceans of podcasts,
We are Cthulhu.
as Cthulhu compels you to
Spaghetti. Open the mind.
and read more.
Spaghetti.